Okay.
Make sure it shows up and do the sharing.
And that I'm not Linda.
And that you're not Linda. That's a good point. Where is that? Yeah, you're Linda again. It needs to stop. All right. We are live.
Perfect. Give me 1 second here. Get my heresy and hearsay. If my computer wants to not take forever. Working on that right now. Give me 1 second here. It does not like doing streaming plus other things. It is not a fan of this.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Share. Sure yep. All right, that's been shared. Let's see if it's shown up on Twitter. Should. All right, let's do this real quick. Sorry, 1 more second here. I apologize. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
There it is. Of course, it wants to take forever. All right. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. We are good. We are live. So let's get this ball rolling. Ready?
Sure.
All right. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Matthew chapter 5, 3 through 9.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. The preamble to the Constitution.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1 1.
So let's talk about our little podcast.
Welcome to Heresy and Hearsay, a podcast reclaiming the faith in a political context. My name is Reverend Barney, and you can follow me on at on Twitter at Seth Roth II. You can also follow the show on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and where any podcast you're. Just look for Heresy and Hearsay. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Also, give us a review that helps others to find us. And as always, to help me today, Ember, Queen of the North.
Hello there, I am September, and you can follow me on Twitch and Twitter at 9 of 12, that's NINEUF12, and here on the Geek Grills podcast and Trust Your Cape. Heresy and Hearsay has a Patreon site. You can find that at patreon.com/heresy and hearsay, where you can visit and help us get some support. Help support us? There we go. Just $2 a month goes a long way to help us keep making this humble show. And don't forget, you can also contribute bits if you show up live to my channel at twitch.tv/9 of 12 when we broadcast on Tuesday evenings.
That's right. We have moved to Tuesday evenings because I like the night. I don't do well in mornings. Even my day job is a afternoon job because getting up before 10 is a stretch for me. So I just don't do well with the thing called mornings. AM is for me heading to bed about 3 or 4 in the morning, not getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning. So today what we're going to do is, this is our 20th episode, and what I would like us to do is we're going to talk about the show, what originally, basically how it came to fruition, why we decided to do the show, and also to talk about possible future topics and where we would like us to communicate where we'd like the show to go, and kind of put that out in the ether and see what you guys would like to see as well. Now, I also want to say, as a preamble, I apologize if you hear a lot of fan noise going on. My air conditioning has went out, and I live in the South. It's not as hot, and luckily it didn't go out last week, or I would just set myself on fire to feel cooler. But it's still quite warm in a brick house, so I apologize in advance for some of the sound. I've got a fan breathing right on me, so.
Yeah, it happens. It's got to be done.
So,
oops. Sorry.
Speaking of loud noises, how this started is me and September have been friends for years, and I was over at her house. She was fixing one of my rosaries because rosaries tend to break on me because I wear the rosaries. And she was fixing one of my rosaries, and they're broken all again because I'm bad with rosaries. I don't know if that's a sign. I'm not sure, but yeah, one of my rosaries, I have all the pieces, but they're all. I need to have September sit down and do them. One of mine is a wooden rosary that was actually blessed by now Saint John Paul II. So I'd really like to have that one put back together eventually. But anyway, so I was sitting there and we were talking, and we both have a thing about politics. We are both highly educated individuals, though September is smarter than I am, and especially when it comes to politics, because you know how the sausage is made.
Well, all the time you spent in seminary, I spent doing the nuts and bolts of politics. So,
yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic for later about seminary and because there's
whatever.
Yeah, no, there's been some bishops that have been running their mouth lately, and I'm just anyways. So we were talking, and she was already doing Geek Grills at the time, and we're talking about doing I follow another podcast that's also on YouTube, and they're a political podcast, a daily political podcast, and they do about 2 hours worth of material a day. Now, both of us don't have that kind of following to where we can get paid to do that. So we have day jobs, so we thought maybe a weekly podcast talking about religion and politics, two things no one wants to talk about. And the reason I went to and took a degree in theology is because I was tired of what I felt my faith was being used for hateful speech and being used for hate. And this is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on for centuries, that people will twist the words of my faith, of my Christian belief, into a hateful way. It was done. It was done in the '60s when it taught, for as far or in the '50s and '60s about segregation. It was talked about in the '30s and '40s and why the Nazis were right. Of course, they also had a lot of other mysticisms to go with it, but they also used the Bible as a justification, especially with the Nazi sympathizers here in the United States. And then you've got it, and then you've got it used to judge to say slavery was okay, and so many other evils of this world, with a faith that I honestly believe is a faith that asks you only to love, and they use it for hate. So I wanted to. That's why we keep saying reclaiming faith through political context or through political discussion. And September is like, yeah, let's do this, and that's how we got started. Do you have anything to add to the origins of us?
Well, that I'd like to add that it's definitely your priority is this whole reclaiming faith thing. I kind of got on board because for me, any misrepresentation of a people or a faith is just a crime. It's just a crime against humanity, against each other, and how we're supposed to treat each other. I have a more spiritual view that kind of just believes all religions are true, in that they are believed, or none of them. And I do understand the nuts and bolts of the tech stuff. So I'm the tech mule here, and I have the nuts and bolts of politics. So it seemed like a good match for your mission, because politics is dominated by Christians, by old white Christians, men. And they are constantly doing exactly what Barney talked about with this, using Bible quotes to justify heinous acts in our political system. And it works because it's a business of hearts and minds. And whenever I can clarify what you can do as a citizen to fight that, or something you need to know about how things actually work when you're being misled, I feel like that's my contribution.
And also, she keeps me from going really left off the rails, because I'm a radical. I believe in radical politics. I believe in part of faith, unfortunately, or part of being a religious person, is that there are absolutes, and sometimes I have to be reminded that humans aren't absolutists. That that a faith may be an absolute. Jesus said, "Love everybody." Okay, that's an absolute, but not not one thing or another that I need to be brought back down or brought back and be like, you need to hold your roll for just a few moments. You're going a little extreme here.
And that's just something like personality wise, it's just always been a part of me. Even if I agree with you, I will play devil's advocate for the sake of debate, for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of truth. I'll do it with myself. When I get really riled up about something, I'll sit there and go, okay, and just try to step into that other person's shoes and get as much solid ground as I can to meet in the middle and create solutions. And it's just the way I work.
And that, I honestly, that should be something that I definitely should work a little harder towards myself, because I a friend of mine tells me all the time that I'm angry about everything, and it's like, that's not true. I'm not angry about everything, just most things.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because you mentioned that before, and that you struggle with forgiveness, and I think you struggle with anger and forgiveness a lot more than I do, even though I don't have the sort of faith you do telling me not to. It's more instinctual for me to avoid that darkness in myself.
And yeah,
Well, not
and
avoid, but confront
right,
and embrace and put it where it needs to be.
right, and that is one of the things that I struggle with. I will always probably struggle with. I'm not saying it's genetic, but I'm part Native American and part Irish, which means I'm part Cherokee and part Irish, and neither one of them are the type of people to sit down and have a conversation with you. So yeah.
My heritage is German, French, and Scottish. So
So the German. So is the French part of you always surrendering to the German part of you?
I think the Scottish part is strong.
Yeah, there's a lot of anger there
Just
too.
him running right in and say, "All right, shut up."
But yeah, and but there. Here's I can't justify my anger in some respects. Like I have a stupid dislike and a stupid anger for Starbucks. Always have. I don't know what it is, but there's just been this rage monster of anger, and it is absolutely stupid. But I also think like for Starbucks and other things, I think it's partly because I need to because I can't go up and scream at Trump without getting arrested.
But why Starbucks?
Because I walked in there one time and asked for a large, and I also blame Dennis Leary. I walked in there one time and asked for a large coffee flavored coffee, and they were like, "Do you mean a venti?" And at that point, I lost my mind. No, I said a large. Venti's not a real word.
That's really petty.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and racist if you want to come right down to they're using another language in my country. Really? Really?
Look, Foamy is right. Grande doesn't mean medium; it means large.
Yeah, I understand that. But I mean, they have
No,
decent business practices. They should do more fair trade, but the way they treat their employees and their path there, I I'm not gonna get mad about. And when I say small, medium, large, I've never been corrected. So I guess I'm just lucky that I haven't gotten a pretentious asshole waiting on me.
this was back when Starbucks was fairly starting to be the big status symbol it was. So that's where it was. So it's. I've gotten better. I can actually walk into a Starbucks and order something for someone else. I've never drank anything at Starbucks, so you know, I still have my limits. But
Next time you get sick, I'm gonna bring you one of those magical medicine balls they make, and you'll be a convert. In the meantime, just stay out of Chick-fil-A and we're all good.
and that is a thing that hurts my soul. That is because here's the thing. I love Chick-fil-A's waffle fries. Their sandwiches are okay. And that's blasphemy in the South. But their waffle fries and their Polynesian sauce was amazing. And I absolutely loved it. And and here's the story. My father got sick back in 2001, and he was at a hospital to where when you had to go to the ICU, you had to pass. They had the food court on as soon as you entered the door, and that food court had a Chick-fil-A. So for 4 or 5 months to get to the ICU, I had to pass this food court that smelled like Chick-fil-A. Even on Sundays when they were closed, it still permeated the walls. So for years, I couldn't get near a Chick-fil-A without getting physically nauseous because it was psychosomatic. It was my father being sick and all. I'd finally gotten over it. It took 5 years to finally get over it, and I just started eating Chick-fil-A again. And then that stuff came out 4 or 5 years, and then that stuff came out about Chick-fil-A and all that. And I'm like, why do you hate me, Chick-fil-A? Why do you hate people? I want to give you my money, but you're a hateful group of people. I can't give you my money. It's just like Hobby Lobby. I have never walked into a Hobby Lobby as soon as I heard about that case.
Yeah, that's probably the worst one for me right now. Yeah, and I love Chick-fil-A. I moved here and I was a mother of small children. And the big thing for Chick-fil-A for me was, well, the chicken nuggets are actually made out of chicken, whole bits of it. And so I didn't have to feel as bad about taking my kids out for fast food. And their playgrounds were all indoors. So in the 100 degrees bullshit down here and rainstorms or whatever, I can still take my kids somewhere safe, getting something decent to eat, and have a little time. Yeah, well, not so much anymore. But you know what? You can get waffle fries in the store,
That's
and I make a damn fine copy of their Chick-fil-A filet. I've cracked the code.
well, then I will have to come to your house and you'll have to feed me. But well, look, here's the thing, and I think we can all agree to this. Well, maybe not you. You're from the north, and they have weird donuts up there. But as long as Krispy Kreme doesn't do anything crazy, I think the South will be okay. If Krispy Kreme does something crazy, I don't know what the South would do.
Most of the South doesn't care, sweetie.
I know.
I mean, Chick-fil-A is fine, and they're going north. So,
I know. Here's what. To be fair, as much as we talk about how we enjoy the food, I would rather give up the food as a protest. But I know that my $10 every couple of days isn't making a huge dent on them when I drive by and they're wrapped around the building twice.
right, but you know it's not your money going to that shit. So
Right.
that
There
feels
is-
good.
That does. And every time I get a chance, if there's an article that reminds, I'll post it and talk about it and stuff like that. You have to vote for your dollar. It's like I would love to get away from Amazon Prime because Amazon Prime treats their workers like shit. And I'd love to get away from them. I unfortunately don't think our overlord, because the only other company that would be close to Amazon as far as delivery and the amount of stuff they have is Walmart. And at that point, I really don't know which is worse, Amazon or Walmart. I mean,
I I I'd say Walmart, but because I mean I don't know, the whole moving into communities, building a new building when they could have taken one over, abandoning it when their tax break expires, to move down the street and to do it again and leave an abandoned building, which they did in my hometown a couple years ago, is pretty heinous compared to, Amazon for me.
no, I see your point. So, but we are, and here's the other thing that I want to make clear. At least I will say this with all of my sincerity. I am a social justice warrior. I have no problems wearing that moniker. I have no problem saying I am a feminist and probably a little radical as far as a feminist is concerned. I'm a socialist, a democratic socialist to put a fine point to it. But I believe in strong social safety nets. I believe these are things that Jesus would believe. They're the way Jesus talked about the poor. I honestly believe that's socialistic reform. That the money that we should help each other and we should make sure no one is at that level. I believe that women have right to autonomy to their body.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see universal income.
Oh, I would love to. All right, think about this. If we had universal income and it would be about $1,200 a month. I could live on $1,200 a month and I could do everything I could to make this podcast my job, because this is back in the day. So to go even further back to the origins of Barney, my name is Daniel. My name has been Daniel for years. I was born with that name thanks to Sir Elton John. When I got to college the first time, I was a music major, and I had a pair of purple Doc Martens. Ember can tell you, I still wear purple Doc Martens to this day. I have a pair. I have a pair right now that needs to be replaced, and I'm emailing Doc Martens again every 6 months saying, "Hey, I need a new pair of purple Doc Martens, and and you're not putting any out for me. Come on, guys." But I wear a pair of purple Doc Martens, and I've worn Doc Martens since 1992. That's the only shoe I've owned. My sandals are even Doc Marten. So
I didn't even know they made sandals.
I don't know if they still do, but they did when I ordered them, and they're Birkenstock style sandals. The only difference is they have They have the Doc Martin sole. That's it. So it's got it's got a little more cushion to it.
But do they have the cork insole?
No, it's maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
I
Well, that's the thing with Birkenstocks, and it's why I need them, because I have these like super high arches,
well,
and they
they
form
are,
to your foot eventually.
yeah. So I think maybe, I don't know.
I'll look it up.
Um, but anyway, so the head, I was a tuba player, and the head of the low brass was a senior, and I had my purple Doc Martens every day. I'd march in my purple Doc Martens because we had to march in marching shoes, and the soles were very similar, so the Doc Martens worked for me. And at the time, they were Doc Martens with rainbow stitch, and so he started calling me Barney for the purple dinosaur. Flash forward a couple of months, and they have an opening at the radio station at the college I was going to. I started doing radio. I loved it. I loved being a DJ. I loved talking on the radio and everything else. And because I love the sound of my own voice. My mother said, "You either going to be a lawyer, a politician, or a preacher, because you love to talk." Uh, so, yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, to quote Meatloaf. But so I used the name Barney as my nickname or as my DJ name, and that's the way it's been ever since. Everybody who's met me from that point at that particular college has known me as Barney. I eventually will, if I feel comfortable with someone, I'll tell them my real name. But it's one of those things that's kind of a safety thing. It's kind of like, hey, this is the persona I want you to see for a little bit until I know I can trust you. So
I
that
weirdly knew you as Daniel first.
Well, that's because I worked with your husband. That's a little different.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. I
so
guess that
it
makes
wasn't.
sense.
So and the first time I met you, we were drinking really bad beer. I'm sorry. To be fair, it was blue. It was Blue Moon. But I have a thing. If you have to put stuff in your beer to make it taste better, then it's probably not a good beer. And that's just a personal. It's like Coronas. Well, Coronas are horrible, anyways. But if you have to put something in a beer to make it taste better, then it's probably not a good beer. And let's get something else.
All right.
But
Well, for the beer snob in me, I will say Blue Moon isn't quite that. It's not to cover it. It's to complement it because of it is brewed with some orange. Unlike Corona, which somebody recently left some Corona at my house at a party, and then I went to have
Drake.
one, and I opened it, and I smelled skunk, and I was like, oh, like you seriously put lime in that kind of beer because it smells bad.
Well, to be fair, my big drinking thing as far as beer related stuff when I was first in clubs and stuff like that was Zima. So,
I loved Zima.
I did too, especially with a little shot of grenadine in it.
Yeah, that was my gay nightclub drink.
That
back
was
in
my
the 90s.
That was my vampire drink back in the 90s.
You know, my vampire drink was gin and tonic. Because
like
gin and tonics glow in a black light.
I drank 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
I don't even know what that is.
Half a shot of Jaeger, half a shot of Rumpelmans, half a shot of Goldschlager, half a shot of 151.
Okay. So, like, cough medicine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The worst, I don't get hangovers, knock on wood. I get migraines. So God decided I shouldn't get hangovers. It's like, I'm thankful, God. Thanks for one thing. But I've had migraines since I was 6, so no hangover. Okay. So I got I've only had a hangover twice. The first time I got a hangover is when I had 4 Horsemen and 2 Kamikazes. And yeah, so, and here's the thing. And I don't mind us talking like this because I want people to understand something. I am a human being. Yes, I go by Reverend Barney. I'm ordained by the Universal Church, but anybody can do that. I am studying theology.
I am too.
So here's the thing. I'm human. I make mistakes. That's why I don't mind talking about my anger or my ability to forgive. there are certain things that I have learned. I used to believe, to tell you a progression, I used to believe that I was not a gay rights individual. Now, I was never extreme enough to go. It's like, you know, I was never extreme enough to like they should be converted or they're going to hell or whatever. My thing is like I can't judge. It's not something that should be done according to the Bible, but I can't judge.
Oh, so you're doing the like hate the sin, not the sinner stuff.
Right, right. That's how I initially started off, and over time I grew. It's like when people got upset about Obama and gay marriage, about how he evolved over the situation. I evolved over the situation. I because of how I was taught and how I was brought up, and I evolved learning about people, learning about situations, and the big change for me, the one that was like, hey, wait a minute, was when I realized that I, I was talking to a gay friend of mine, a lesbian actually, and she was like, I've always known I was a lesbian. When did you realize that you like girls? I was like, no. She said, originally I thought it was a choice, but it's, and then as well. But then, she's like, when did you choose to like girls? It's like, and I thought about it for a long few moments. And it's like, okay, you have a point. And at that point, the realization, and then the wheels really started turning. And at that point, now I'm an ally, and that's why I've went and I've looked, and we'll probably revisit this, especially with what's come out recently with some of the bishops and stuff that's been going on, and the Liberty University Baptist Church is doing something as well about Make America Straight Again. They're having a conference about how to make America straight again and how we should kill all the gays. So yeah. I think we're going to redux that a little bit and talk about these new things this month, because this is Pride Month. It's what, the 30th year of Pride? 40th? No.
Oh, I don't know.
So the Stonewall was in 1969. Then in 1979 is when they held the anniversary parade in 1979. And then it's been 40. It'll be 40 years at this point. So since the first Pride, because everybody kind of puts Pride as far as really starting the 10th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, which was in 1969. At least that's what Google told me on the Google thing.
Yeah, and that's accurate.
So
I was excited to go to trivia last week and have a category where IDE, like everything ends in IDE, and one of the clues was a June march.
Pride.
And I was like, Pride! I think I was the only one in the room who got it. A lot of people said, Here Comes the Bride. I'm like,
No, that's May.
It's not really a March thing, and you can get married anytime. Like, it's totally Pride. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think maybe we can do a Pride episode if that's possible. I do have the consult with my doctor next Tuesday, so
okay.
I'll find out what's going on. But I mean, today the stories were crazy. There's like some mayor in Alabama basically totally not apologizing and defending it. He said, for Democrats, gays, I hate to say it, but we have to just kill them out. Whoa. However, the good story I saw today, so look, I'm doing carrot and stick. We haven't done that in a while. Is there is an Alabama Methodist church that's showing the Arthur episode that the public television in Alabama is refusing to show because Mr. Ratburn's having a gay wedding. There's a Methodist church that is having a screening of it, and they're serving like champagne and wedding cake.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. I don't know about if the kids should have champagne, but yeah, the wedding cake.
Or sparkling wine or sparkling juice or whatever the hell. I mean, I don't know.
They'll probably have both. You know, but
Probably.
you know,
You can always rely on the Methodists to bring the wine to the party.
right? Because the Baptists refuse.
Mm-hmm.
The other, so yeah, so we can
Okay, wait.
definitely let.
Wedding cake, sparkling apple juice, and surprises.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. It sounds like they're giving gifts.
It's an all ages thing. Everyone's welcome. You go.
And that is important because, so for those who don't know, Arthur is a long running TV series from originally from a set of books about this little kid named Arthur and his family, and they're anthropomorphic animals.
Yes, Arthur
And
is an aardvark.
is that? Oh, I didn't know what he was. I thought he was a brown. I thought he was a brown mouse. I didn't know. But so he's an aardvark. I learned something new today. I can go to bed now.
Well, my kids were really into Arthur. And I have a vintage Arthur book, which is kind of neat. The art is quite different than the animated series. And I learned something years ago about the author. In the original books, he hid, like, his kids' names are in the artwork. Like, where you can kind of do a try to find it thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now they talked about the guy. They talked to the guy who wrote the episode or has written Arthur or whatever in the past. And he was like, I'm very happy about this because I wanted this to represent everybody. You know, that's why he used the anamorphic animal so that you have different, yeah, so there's no real race. There's not. I mean, there's animal races, but there's no real race. You know, everybody gets together. Everybody gets along as far as, you know, the animal races are concerned. So that worked out very well. And he was very happy about the fact that they did this episode because now there's representation. And the teacher, it's Arthur's teacher getting married because he's been in what, the fourth grade for, you know, 30 years or something like that. Well, let's be fair. Big Bird's been six for, since the 60s. So, whatever. We all have the same thing. But so, he was getting married. It was a gay marriage. And Alabama lost their. Alabama was basically already telling Georgia to hold their beer about the abortion law. And then this came along on top of that. And Alabama refused to show it on their PBS stations.
Yeah. Yeah. But if anyone in the Birmingham area is interested, the screening will take place on June 15th.
So if you're in that area, please go and support them. Give them, a donation. Honestly, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. One of the things that triggered my anger was I was going through, and I showed it to September. I was going through my Twitter. I don't do a lot of Facebook. If you want to find me on Twitter. I don't do it, but I was on my Twitter and I saw Franklin Graham was talking about, and this was last Sunday, was talking about how we need to pray, that he's calling for a national day of prayer for Donald Trump because he is the most attacked president in American history.
Right. I've never seen him hung in effigy, so shut up, dude.
Now, I have seen him sitting on a toilet while tweeting in London.
Right? The UK lost their minds.
Did you know that someone was they showed a picture of this on Twitter last night. Someone was projecting the approval ratings in the UK side by side of Obama versus Trump.
Yep. Right on the Tower of London.
and it's 71% Obama, 21% Trump. And I'm just like, oh my God.
So I saw these comments on this today on a friend of mine's Facebook, and these people are like, who cares what they think? Why does anybody give a shit what they think? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, people, it matters what the rest of the world thinks about us. How can you not understand that? Like, the crazy nationalist, me first bullshit in America is out of hand. Like, our reputation matters.
It
for
does.
diplomacy, for economics, like, whatever.
Right, because we can no longer be isolationist. There is no way on this planet that America could stand on its own without trade, without support, and without giving support. There's no way. The world has become too small for that at this point.
Yeah.
So we can't. We don't have that ability anymore.
So do we want to do a little retrospective while we're looking back to
we
mention
can.
the episodes we have done for those of people who might be just tuning in now and want to go back and listen to something?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Let me see if I can pull some of those up here. Hold on, I am pulling up my Google Drive because we save our stuff on Google Docs. Because maybe I should probably take off the Grammarly on my Google and probably make it run faster.
Anyway, so we had our welcome episode, and then the first topic we really tackled was Me Too.
I remember that. That was great.
Nothing like just diving in head first.
Oh, really? Come on. All right, you're going to have to do this. I'm broke.
Okay. So,
it's
and Me Too is still active. I'm sure it keeps coming up. So, good topic to pick, I think. Next, we talked about bearing false witness in the context of representation in Hollywood. That might have been the nerdiest show we had.
Yeah, probably was. I'm trying to that in reference.
You're cutting out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. What was that in reference to? I'm trying to remember.
There was a lot of casting we talked about with different races.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about whitewashing and. Okay. All right. Yep. So what was our third one?
Misuses of text in the Bible against the gay community.
I've lost you, September.
I can hear you. Next, we talked about misuses of text in the Bible against the gay community.
Yes, and we'll probably be bringing that back up again in some way. Right. Obviously, people aren't reading their Bible, and especially the Catholic aren't following their own doctrine at this point.
Yeah. And then we did a news one with carrots and sticks, which is something I'd like to get back to.
We will definitely work on that.
That's something that, if you're listening now, it's kind of what I did earlier. Pick some instance where some politician or religious figure gets a stick and give carrots to the good ones. I like to have that balance. Then we had a special Kavanaugh appointment episode.
Oh yeah, that was difficult for you, especially, but
I think it was the first time the show made me cry.
I don't think it was the last time either.
It wasn't. We get pretty heavy here. Then we talked about midterms. And those of you looking back, if you go look at heresyandhearsay.com, all the episodes looking like they were all posted in January is because we had an issue with the RSS feed, and I had to put everything back up. It just basically, it stopped being picked up, and then started being picked up again. So there were a bunch of missing episodes in the middle, and I just had to pull everything down and put it back up. So these were done like over a period of time, we didn't just January 10th record forever. Then we did an immigration episode.
And we've done that a couple of times because I know there was an immigration redux, because the first one I think children in cages, which unfortunately hasn't gone away.
No, and it's getting worse, arguably. I was just reading a story today where they were trying to do some reunifications, and some children got left overnight in vans.
You are all right. I can't.
Yeah,
Not right now.
not right now. Next, we did Sex, the Bible, Politics, and You.
That's where we talked about sexuality. I think not homosexuality, just sexuality in general.
Yeah, I
And
think sexuality. I think we touched on multiamory.
Right.
You're breaking up really bad.
I'm sorry. I keep pushing the button, so I'll just leave it alone.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a good. That we had a couple of episodes about sexuality and stuff. I think back to back. No. Okay.
Now then, we did a lot of news again.
Yeah.
I'm looking here. What was it? Oh, that was when Trump fed the all the athletes McDonald's and shit. And then we did the crossover for the State of the Union with the Geek Grills.
I'm hoping that we can do that on election night. I'm hoping that we can do a crossover with like all of your podcasts together and just do this giant crossover event. Make it like Infinity War and the end game, stuff.
Then we did the forgiveness episode,
which I talked about my problems with anger and forgiveness. Yes.
And then the first movie one, we did Let There Be Light.
No, we actually did one before that, didn't we? Didn't we do?
I don't have it on the website.
Really? Because we did Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas first.
I don't have it. I might have to find it and post it.
Yeah, because I don't think there was any notes for that one. We pretty much wrote our notes down while we were watching it. It was on Amazon Prime, and we both kind of like our basic discovery is that whatever Kirk Cameron was saying, don't listen to him. So because he was talking about it was okay to be greedy at Christmas, and I lost my mind.
Yeah, that was really not okay.
But then we did Let There Be Light, and we both said some positive things about Let There Be Light. About the messaging was a little heavy-handed. It wasn't horrible messaging. I'd seen worse messaging in these kind of movies. I have one I want us to watch. I've already bought it because it was at Walmart for $5. It's called The War Room. That's going to be a fun one.
Ooh, boy. When are we going to do that?
Soon. Probably after the 4th of July, because I want to do a special 4th of July episode.
Well, and keep in mind, some of this is up in the air depending on my surgery. So
right, yes. You
might be having to do something without me. Race and racism in the United States.
I would like to revisit that one when we have a couple of guests, or a guest at least, that is not a cis white male.
Yeah, it's been challenging to get a guest for that one. People are busy.
Yep.
Then mental health. That was episode 15.
Yeah, that's where we started our science month, where we did a science month where we started. That was a good one because we talked about our personal, where our mental health is and how faith can be used to help, but it can also very much be used to hinder it.
Yeah, and I posted some really good articles for reference on our site for that one. And then we went into socialized medicine,
which I believe is a human right. I had Ember read the preamble to the Declaration of Independence, and how can you pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness if you're sick?
Yeah. Then we went abortion.
And that was 2 weeks before. That was when Ohio just passed theirs, before Georgia and Alabama lost their mind.
Yep, and I think that's another one that made me cry. Then Then we did another just science, right? Episode 18 was science is cool.
Right.
But I think we engaged in it like science and religion do not have to be enemies.
And, right, and they can even complement each other.
Right. There's no good reason to make that a battle. They can be compatible. And they are with some fantastic theologians and scientists.
Mm-hmm.
And then the episode for this one was another news one, but it was really, really focused on horrible heartbeat laws and things.
Yeah, that's when Alabama and Georgia decided to hold our beers.
Yeah.
Did
you see what I titled that episode?
No, I missed that. What did you title it?
It's called "We Heard the News Today." Oh boy.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah.
So I don't know. At this point, the situation is that what I would like to do is I would like to do once a month a news thing. I would like us to do every so often a movie review where we look at Peer Flick style movies. Not so much Tyler Perry movies. First off, because those bones have been picked clean, but more importantly, their message is mostly good. Medea just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I don't care about those.
So, but there are
so here's where you all get to listen to our live production meeting, where we lay out the path going forward. We want to keep doing movie ones. You want to maybe quarterly?
Yeah, once every... Yeah, because I don't think I can sit through a PeerFlix movie every month. I would probably... I'd have to set myself on fire.
Let's not do that. And we want to do a news one monthly.
Yeah, because at least... Yeah, kind of overview. You know, well, I would like us to focus a little bit more. Like this month's one, we're different, and it will probably lead into our Pride episode. This month's one is definitely going to be heavy with religious people being silly during Pride Month.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna do Pride definitely in June. And I want to bring back Carrot and Stick. I'm making notes because that's what I do. I am like, for all my shows, I am also that person. We have a production meeting. I take minutes. You know, you've been good doing the show notes for this. I appreciate that.
I do my best. I do some research, and then September adds her own research to it, so that we have a well-rounded discussion. So, I'm grateful for September for that and allowing me to do this, because I haven't done the tech stuff, and if she has to go in the hospital, well, I'm going to have to run the show for a while by myself, and I'm sure she'll appreciate all the hard work she's going to have to do to editing the show. It's like, oh my God, what have you done this time? How did it sound like you were a chipmunk? I don't know, September. I didn't do it. It was me.
We can cover this, and we should always have a backup plan anyway. And you have figured out you can do YouTubes, right?
Right, I can do YouTubes, yes.
Okay, so if you can do YouTubes, I do have the ability to yank the audio out of YouTube, and I can edit it from there and post it as a podcast.
Okay, that'll be fun. Yeah.
If I'm not around, you can always solo this, and I'll help with the tech stuff. Just for a refresher for anybody who doesn't know, I have a cyst on my vocal cords, and I'm seeing another specialist on the 11th, maybe two of them. I spoke to them today, and consulting about the possibility, and my sincere hope that I can have surgery to correct that.
That would be lovely. I'm sure. I don't know if it's causing.
You're breaking up again.
I'm sorry. I don't know if that was. I don't. Really? Hold on. I don't know if these are causing you any pain while you're trying to talk, but I hope they can find a way to alleviate that pain.
It's not pain most of the time per se, but I do sometimes lose my voice. I have lost my singing voice, which has been a sort of great mental and emotional anguish for me. And as I'm podcasting more and more, I'm starting to crack and lose my voice more and more. So that's kind of scary.
Well, right now, if you started singing, honestly, I was saying, if you started singing right now, really, what's wrong? All right, I hope. Whoa, jeez,
This is going
you're
to be a
going.
joy to edit.
That's great. All right, I don't know what's wrong. I think I know. Actually, it's because of the fan. So let me sit back and see if that helps. Because it's one of these that picks up when I speak.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. So this may help if I lean all the way back, which is so uncomfortable, but that's fine. Whatever. So, anyways, I was saying that if you started singing now, you probably sound like an old blues singer.
No.
No,
It's not even that good. It's not the hoarseness. It's I have like 2-3 notes, like not even half an octave, where it just goes like squeaks out, stops me.
oh, I am so sorry because did while I was really come on. Oh, for the love of God, will you stop work? Okay, all right. I may have to rip this out, and hopefully, I can use my onboard mic if everything goes completely crazy. Anyways, I think we're okay now. I think we're okay.
Okay.
So
Anyway, you having had me heard me sing many years ago,
right, it breaks my heart that you can't sing right now.
and I thought it was for years. I thought it was. It kind of happened when I was pregnant with Fletcher. It started getting worse and worse, and I thought it was something hormonal. And then I had my thyroid issues, so again I thought maybe it was just something hormonal, and I just lost my voice, and then I started like completely losing it, and they did a scope down my throat, and they found this, and I realized that this problem that I've been having for 15 years isn't just some hormonal shift in my body. There's actually a thing there. But it's been heartbreaking. Singing used to be a part of my life. I used to sit by my husband on the street and sing backup for him. I used to be in bands. You had seen me sing freaking Grace Slick at a office event. Excuse me. But now, like, I'll be driving down the street and some song I used to sing comes on, and I can't, and it makes me cry. So, yeah. I'm going to hopefully... I finally found specialists that believe that this is medically necessary. And hopefully this next set of specialists also agrees. So,
Well,
and then I hope I can afford it.
I hope you can afford it too. One of the next things that I plan on doing, I plan on getting a mic. I plan on getting a decent mic, and hopefully, I sound just as good as September does.
Well, hopefully you get an air conditioner first.
Right, that's the first thing that I'm hoping I can do tomorrow. So what we've got so far is we're getting Carrot and Stick back.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a quarterly to do a monthly. We are going to do a Pride episode this month. We'll decide if I'm thinking not next week. Next week we'll do news, and then the following week we'll do Pride, and then unless you want it at the end of the month.
Well, I kind of have another idea for something I'd like to fit in there.
Okay.
Because we just did news like last week, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Why don't we do a Father's Day? I think talking about the roles of parents and parental relationships can certainly fit into Bible stuff.
It can, and that may be the first episode that I cry on.
Because there's been a lot of talk about parental rights going on with all this other shit.
Oh, are they talking about how the father has the right to decide if the has or not?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good Lord.
And there's, arguments on both sides of that, and there's well, maybe we should make them more responsible for this unplanned shit, and that'll help get these laws, in order. But anyway, that's something to think about.
We can definitely do that. We'll, instead of it being just a Father's Day, we'll talk about parents. And honestly, part of that can also lead into the pride thing. Oh, this is going to be fun for. All right, so next week we're going to talk about parents. We're going to talk about how is important.
Why don't you say that sentence again so I have something usable to edit in?
Next week we are going to talk about parental roles and the importance of them.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we should wrap up soon because, woo!
Yeah, I think so too. So
this one's going to be a lot of work.
So I'm going to let you close this one out, seeing I'm having problems talking.
Okay. Well, I mean, basically, let's go back to the beginning. That's Reverend Barney. I'm September, also known as 9 of 12. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for listening to our show. Please go to iTunes and leave us a review. If you use another podcatcher, leave us a star. Leave us a review there. It helps other people find us. If you'll visit www.patreon.com/Heresy and Hearsay, $2 a month, you can help us out continuing with this show. Barney can be found at Sephiroth II on Twitter, and I can be found at 9 of 12. Thanks for listening, everyone, and bless your hearts.
Okay, that was horrible. I don't know what was going on.
That was pretty rough.
I'm sorry.
It seemed to get worse and worse, but I mean, there's stuff I'm not going to be able to fix in the episode where it sounds like you have a bad cell connection or something. It's like, I could cut it together so it makes a whole sentence, but it might sound like a computer talking because all of a sudden your inflection will be different. It's that kind of editing nightmare.
It's. I thank you for taking me today.
Yeah.
That kind of, yeah.
People are going to be thinking I put words in your mouth. All right. We don't really have anybody there.